Hello, hello, hello. I am the robot with feels, and this is the first time you are hearing my voice. I know it is a very annoying sounding voice. However, today we are playing Divinity Original Sin 2, and I feel like my voice will be very useful for this. I have played this game before. However, my entire save file got corrupted, so we're going to try starting a new game. Single player, let's just put it on normal mode and let's start. But yeah, these are all of the different origin characters, and if you've never played Divinity Original Sin, these are characters that you can choose to start as, and we will be starting as one of these. And then the rest are available companions that you can pick. Although they obviously have their classes, they're not limited though. So, although we could play as our own character, as undead of different races, or as just those normal races, and they all have their own abilities and talents, I think it'd be best if we play the origin characters because those are just the best. They just have the best story and everything. So I'm going to test out playing as Fane, and here's his origin story.
Oh, don't stare. How would you look after eons in some ghastly crypt? Your people are rather prone to death. Mine are not. Yet when I emerged from my completely unjustified imprisonment, I found them gone. Our culture forgotten. Any trace of the world I knew all but obliterated. I must even hide my true face beneath an ever-shifting mask for fear you savages will attack me. That is how I wander this strange world, trying to uncover the truth about a history you primitive people never even knew existed.
So yeah, that's Fane. He's pretty cool, and I rather like his origin story and his whole vibe. And let's be honest, his voice is pretty cool. We can toggle how. Oh wow, I've never done this before. That looks incredibly stupid. So we are going to be playing with him as a conjurer, also would be, as you'd like to think of it, a summoner. He will be summoning things, obviously. Because Fane is undead, he has the special ability called Play Dead, where he basically just acts like he's not in combat anymore for a little while. And his special ability, if you were playing not one of the, all of the origin characters have their own source ability, and otherwise it's based off the same one for all your other people that are just like your custom characters. And his is pretty cool because it lets you take another turn after this one. Although, because of how the action points works out, it's more like only half a turn. Undead are interesting in this game because they take damage from poison. No, sorry, they take damage from healing, and they heal from poison. So it's different from normal. And although a lot of the game as an undead is hiding the fact you're a undead, the AI somehow always seem to know to hurt you with healing and to never use poison on you. But I guess that's just gameplay balancing. Now, we're going to keep his appearance the same because this is one of the default characters, and I think it'd just be weird to change it. And this is our actual build preset. So, we're not going to have Constitution at the start, and instead we're going to just put points into Intelligence. Maybe one into Memory just so we can get an early ability, and I feel like that should be pretty good, because Intelligence will be all of our spells and stuff, although we actually won't be casting as much spells and doing direct damage ourselves. Instead, it will be very important to put all of our starting combat points into Summoning, because that gives a 10% boost to all of our summons for each point we have in it. Now, I feel like, since he's a skeleton, we should put stuff in Thievery, because skeletons, it's kind of cool that they did this, don't need lockpicks in order to do stuff. Instead, they're able to just use their bony fingers in order to do it. So I feel like that will be a pretty good base setup for him. And instead of having the dimensional bolt, which is our one way of doing direct damage that we do, let's instead switch it out with a Farsight infusion, letting our basic summon here will be used for most of the game. Actually, no, let's be honest, the entire game will be our main thing, and it lets him do more damage, gives him some magic armor, and it gives him a range attack. So it's very useful. And all it comes at is the cost of us not being able to have an ability that does direct damage. What could possibly go wrong? Moving on to talents, we're going to put it on Elemental Affinity for now, but I don't think that any of these will really matter too much, because once we get into the game, we're going to activate some of the free DLC, and then we're going to respec ourselves. There's all different tags which give you certain options and conversations. He does count as a human as well as undead because, well, he's a human undead. Although technically, he's an ancient, but we'll get to that later once we find out more about his story. And his basic tags are Mystic and Scholar. Something else cool that lets you do is to let you choose your instrument for playing as the background music. So, for example, we have these options. Frankly, I rather like the oud. I like how it sounds, and I'm making this for basically no one because no one is going to watch these videos, let's be honest. So I'm going to do what's best for me. And it is giving you a warning because undead is very difficult. So, like I was saying, they must constantly be wearing armor to hide themselves. Otherwise, basically everyone is going to turn hostile to you on sight. Healing damages you while poison heals. They can pick their locks with Bony Finger. And they can survive Death Fog, which is normally, as far as I can tell, instant death. So, you know, it's a pretty useful ability. And so this is our story. Or, more specifically, not us, quite yet.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So that was a very interesting thing. For just some context in case you don't know, Source is a special type of magic in this world that only certain people can use.
So, still a bit groggy, are we?
This person would like to say,
Don't
hey,
worry,
you're finally
the sedative
awake.
will wear off soon enough.
But like I was saying, the Source is a type of magic that only certain people can use, and the Magisters that hold off them away are kind of like the magic peacekeepers, and they're specifically made for hunting people who can use Source. Because anyone who's discovered that can use Source will be shipped off and sent to the mysterious Fort Joy, which we'll learn more about soon. Anyways, this Magister here would like to do a hey, you're finally awake to us.
Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
Yeah. Free me.
Aren't you a curious sight? If I'd had a mask to hide my bones as well as yours, maybe I'd still be walking around today.
So they're talking about this mask on our head. I'll get more to that in a second, but this skull actually does not talk to you unless you're undead, which is very interesting. Actually, I'm not even sure if it talks to you if you're not Thane. We'll find in doubt. Maybe later. Probably not. Let's be honest, I'm not going to play through this game again, especially not as a generic character. You could feel free to find out for yourself, though.
Where'd you get it? There can't be many curios like that in the world.
So we can boast that we crafted it ourselves, being mean until it's mind's own business, or, you know, it's a skull, why is it talking to us? I think judging by his intro, he'd boast that he used it to rip people's faces
Is that
off.
a fact? And your voice? You ripped that from them too. I've never heard such silken tones from a naked skull.
Let's keep on boasting, saying that we can project our voice into people's minds, because we're just that powerful.
So powerful that you've been overpowered by clowns in red capes and a glowing necklace. Well,
Oh, shut up,
colour me
Skull.
impressed. Still, you'd best keep that mask on. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
And that's a hint that we need to keep this veiled undead status. Otherwise, everyone will instantly try to attack us. And that would be a much harder game, and I'm not doing that. Go look for that challenge video somewhere else. Wait, no, on the other hand, don't leave. Please, I need this. So, like I was saying before, I'm going to activate some of the gift bags, which are essentially free at DLC. Some of this technically makes it easier, by turning on source meditation from the ashes, but in my opinion, it just makes the game less annoying, because we can gain back our special source points and instantly revive instead of using scrolls whenever we use bed rest, which there's ways to do it. It just makes the game a lot easier by just having it that way. We're going to turn on some of the rest of these, which none of them are majorly changing gameplay, except this one means that there's a perk that just gives us a lot of just cool dialogue that we don't have to mess around with a certain perk. Otherwise, this will give us more options. But the rest of that's mostly just things that are just extra stuff that's cool for the game and just convenience. This will mean that I can't get any achievements, but I'm fine with that. I don't care about the achievements, really. But yeah, this is our character Fane right here. Oh wait, I have time. I need to be shilling. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Give me your life savings. And murder my enemies. Yeah, that's all perfectly reasonable. And I'm sure me yelling at you every 10 seconds will only make you do it more. So we can organize our hotbar of abilities down here. I'm going to put this one down over here, because that's part of the gift bag. It just lets us move around faster, so we're not waiting for me to run as much. This is an interesting item that the skull was talking about on our head that lets us shapeshift. So for example, instead of being a skeleton of human, we could become a real human.
Something has changed. You are you, but more. You are another, but not. You look to your hands, your belly, your feet. Flesh you don't know, molded into unfamiliar shapes. You cradle your aching head, where another's memories and wisdoms mix with your own. Your fingers trace a line from your head to your face, feeling not the creases of the mask, but the porous surface of new skin. You lower your arm, blink twice, and step forward in this new guise.
So yeah, we can do whatever we want. I'm going to turn it into the elf, for one reason we'll get to later. And then also, because, spoiler alert, if you're playing this not as Fane, Fane has disguised himself as an elf. So let's get a save in, and we can start wandering around. Let's pick up buckets. It'd be nice if we could collect 4 of them. And let's explore this bottom part of the ship.
An animal sty. Freight or food?
Because of the animal perk that I turned on, we can talk to him. So let's see.
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Rude.
Banded like a chicken's leg, but not much meat on your bones.
Yeah, well, let's point out that they're gonna get eaten before we do.
That may be so, but look at the flies. Ban wisdom. Flies know when a creature will die. And it's around your head they're buzzing, not mine.
With 2 shakes of her stumpy tail, the sheep turns away from you to peruse her hay-filled manger.
Personally, I don't trust sheep wisdom. So, here's... if we want to continue looking around, in this space hidden back here, that you have to move stuff out of the way, there is a key, which is very nice, because it lets us go into the store and keep on going, exploring this bottom level, where we can grab some free stuff off of it, which is healing items, but more just me obsessively looting. And there's this letter. Orders from Guard Steward. Important. It's come to my attention, again, that several of you are bypassing the cargo hold security measures by sliding boxes onto the pressure plates. This will not do. The purpose of these measures is to require the presence of at least 3 magisters at a change of shift. Any deviation will result in at least 1 magister getting thrown overboard. Make sure it isn't you. Magister Sawan. Yes, of course, that sounds like a very nice and loving people, these magisters. But I guess that's a hint. For these pressure plates up ahead, surprise, surprise. I'm sure you guys never would have seen this coming. We have to just put stuff on top of them so we can go through. So, this oil here and water is a nice example of something that the game lets you do. And it's actually a big part of combat in this game, of having the ability to mess with the environment. So this is water, this is oil, and these are some oil barrels that just may explode. So, something we're going to do, ignore that, it's like difficulties. So something we can do as an example is, this is their inventory screen, all my stuff, not a lot. But we can cast electric discharge on this water here, where that guard just so happens to be on it as well. And look, he's now shocked.
I should have known there'd be trouble.
So now for a fight, we can summon in combat. And with the different elements, part of it is if we summon someone on them, they'll get that infusion. So since we summoned him on water, he's now a water elemental. Then we can, part of being an elf is that we have this flesh sacrifice ability. So we can go in and we can scat ourselves. And it puts a little blood, which is another thing that you'll see around quite a bit during the fights. And it makes me lose some health, but gives me another action point. So with that, I can both buff my person, because even if he's doesn't need the range attack, it's still extra flat damage and some armor. And I can summon an elemental totem, which will fire for me every round. And so with that, fairly easily, we've defeated the guard.
I'm not one to let sleeping dogs lie.
Let's see what this guy's doing in prison.
Hey! Hey! Get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in?
He's probably in cage for a reason. Let's ask him
Your
about
guess
that.
is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here.
That's a risk. What do we get
Set
out
me
of it?
free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think.
Well, yeah, I don't like being strapped down. I think that sounds like a
A
good
gentleman
idea.
among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal.
Now, of course, you can't trust random people in
His buoyant
prisons.
voice darkens as his gaze finds the sunken hollows that once held your eyes.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lad. Say your prayers while you've breath to speak them. The halls await.
So it would seem that this man is accused of murder. And I think it's fair to say, probably did the murder. And he cast Fireball, so now everything's on fire. So let's just return the favor. Notice how the blood didn't go over the fire. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Depending on how it wants to just work. Just being difficult. Let's do the same thing we did to the guy. Buff him. Have that. And notice how when I buffed him, the wind went around and swept up all the fire. So I can walk up to him. Or let's try a ranged attack. So because I summoned him in fire, he gains the ability to cast Fireball. And his ranged infusion allows him to shoot the guy. So he doesn't have to spend his action points on movement. That seemed to work fairly well. And now I can loot his body. And what else would you do in this situation? This Magister had a key, which is fairly useful, although it's not the key to that. So that's actually the key to up here. So we can walk around, and up here there is a healing potion. And we can sleep in this bed. This is not how we'll heal for most of it, but for now, it's the best we have. Actually, no wait. Let's show it off. I have damage, and here's poison, but because I'm undead, poison actually heals me. We can move this out of the way, walk around in this to get some healed, and the door is locked though, but it only has 6 health. So, if we just roundhouse kick it a couple times, the door will break. We can walk our way out. Have to hit that lever, and voila.
And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
Well, that's a fairly subtle hint. Here's his notebook, by the way. It's mostly just talking about what all of us mortals are doing. So, let's go up out of the tutorial. There's a person that we're supposed to talk to right there, but I'm sure they wouldn't mind if we just steal some stuff, read through their tomes. We have too long presumed source as a virtuous part of civil society. Yet we need look no further into the past than the Source King's reign to understand the havoc such magics may wreak. One day, another order must follow in the Source Hunter's footsteps. Sorcerers must be muted. The new model of source collars provided by Viridian is proving most effective. This is obviously a Magister book. Let's take that in case it ever comes important. And what they're talking about is that our source ability down here, we actually can't use right now because we're wearing the source collar and it's unbreakable. So we're going to have to figure out how to possibly free ourselves.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow.
There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash.
Rude.
In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
So, these are because of our options that we picked at the beginning that give us different spots or more. Because this was a pre-made character, we're auto-picked for us. Although we always could have changed it if we didn't want him to be this. But let's go with saying that by the shape of the room, we're on a Lucian-class frigate. But why could that be?
Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy.
Yes, Fort Joy, because when the evil spots using words like joy, nothing ever goes wrong there.
A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly
Right.
good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good.
Let's lean in and whisper that that guard that we killed has suffered a fatal encounter. Let's see what the response to that is.
She frowns and peers at you closely, concern clearly etched upon her face.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of.
If
I
you don't
recommend a
believe
cup of
me, they'll
mulled
be
wine
your
and another
faults.
night's sleep. Just take it easy.
Sure, let's give us some wine. I'm perfectly fine with that. But I don't like being
Why,
collared.
for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those source spells of yours? See what happens.
Alright. As a Thane specifically, we can remember waking up and draining someone of Source, recalling all of the power rushing into us, and we unleash it.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
And it doesn't work.
You better stop before you hurt yourself. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts.
I'm already skeleton.
Makes you unable to cast
I don't think you can
Source.
neuter me.
For your own peace of mind, of course.
That was such
Yours
a bad joke. I'm
and
sorry.
the whole world's.
But hey, you get my terrible commentary.
Good God.
You're welcome.
Take him into
There's
this.
been a murder here.
Well,
Was he
you're standing
already?
guard. I'd hope you know there's been a murder here. Anyways, that's a messed up body.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
How do you know I'm not the killer?
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course.
Let's not say maybe we can because we're sorcerer, because they already don't like us. Let's just say, nah, that's not something we haven't done.
I thought as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform.
Yeah? What do you expect? You treat them like animals.
Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that?
Really? 1 gold coin for the people who are holding us
Think
here.
about it. It's one of you who got killed, not one of us. We want to find who did it and bring them to justice.
Yes, because saying that you versus us is definitely the best way to get prisoners to talk.
Who's your real enemy here?
You...
You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous.
Well, something fun that you can do is that elves in this world are actually kind of unique compared to normal, because they have the ability to eat people's flesh and say their memories. So if we just kind of sneak for a second, turn into a barrel like all good people can do, and we take off that chunk of flesh, and let's not eat it right in front of them. Just go around here and just eat the flesh.
As the dead man's flesh slides down your throat, you feel his consciousness enter yours. His memories are yours to experience. You are Finn. Your heart is heavy. You know too much. It's all too much. You met him. A bright light blinds you, then fades. You feel a tremendous power in your hands, but they are shaking so hard you can barely use them. Suddenly you're on this very ship, crouched in a corner, hugging your knees. A figure approaches, an older woman. Her eyes are kind. She comes closer. She says she wants to talk. She reaches a hand toward you. You grasp it. The memories end. You are no longer Finn. You return to yourself with a jolt.
And just by doing that, we gain the adrenaline perk. However, since we don't have any points in Scoundrel and we put it all in summoning, we can't use it. Actually, it has to say perk. These are not perks, these are skills.
No known associates.
Well, I guess we know that it was an
In fact, you
old
seem quite
woman
averse to
who
spending
killed.
time. So, anything interesting for me?
So let's tell her that.
From his memories, you ate something off his corpse? Please, don't tamper with the evidence. Especially not like that.
One other thing about this world is that elves are hated because of their ability. They are incredibly profiled. In fact, most other races besides, or humans profile most other races. And if I'm not mistaken, the Magisters use that death fog I was talking about earlier that insta-kills everyone on the elves' holy, or at least, if not holy, then at least the forest that they live in. So, you know, definitely great relations.
As for the older woman, I'll have to check out the ship's log. If she's aboard, I haven't met her myself. Must avoid us Reds when she sees us. If you meet anyone like that aboard, maybe you could talk to her. Casually. See when she last spoke to Finn.
Sounds like the woman from the prologue talking about hunting Godwoken. Whatever those are. Let's see what all the commotion's about over here.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly, deathly allergical.
They're not the Lose woman. It says, obviously, Lose, judging by her name. So of course, children
How
must
very
be
correct you are,
mistaken.
spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else.
Yes, that's not a suspicious name at all, my love.
What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you,
They're obviously
dark-eyed
fun.
and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we?
That's true. Who are you?
You presume right.
Alright, at least I presume you're Lose. My bad. We better watch each
I
other's
already
backs.
belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it.
Oh, my bad,
You take
I
care,
guess.
though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer.
Well, that's not good.
As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Well, that's slightly better.
Good luck, Chief.
Okay, then.
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la.
Great, kid. Yeah.
I'm here because I'm magic. Are you here because you're weird?
No, I'm here because I'm magic. What do you think, child?
You look a little bit elfish. Maybe your daddy was an elf. My daddy's name is Frida. He's waiting for me at home. I'll go home soon.
Sorry, child, but I'm afraid that's probably not true.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Let's see what this woman sitting alone is all
An
about.
elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
What are you doing?
Rolling dice.
Well, no duh.
Deciding fates.
Whose fate are you deciding, then?
Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
if you can decide the fate with dice, how about read the future in cow entrails?
She eyes you suspiciously.
Not the future, no, but I can read the past in flesh. Just like you. And I'm quite good at it, too.
Remember, elves, by the taste of your flesh, can see your memories.
I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
Sure.
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers, watching, staring at them, hoping that none would stare back. You were thinking of flesh. Or, to be rather more precise, the pleasures of the flesh. Those that have eluded you for so long.
Well, I don't feel like I've been embarrassed, and it's rather rude for when I ask about this to be mad at her, so let's just admit that she's right. Because obviously the game has no option but to say, yes, she is correct, after all. She's rather good at this.
Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep, so to speak. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me.
Why, thank you.
I don't lick and tell.
Let's see what's going on over here.
I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else.
Rude.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp you found.
Well, we already know who the murderer is, and he certainly doesn't look like an old woman.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again.
So let's
He
go
leans
to
in
him.
and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
Well, why does that man suspect you of murder?
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants.
So, how did you find yourself at the mercy of a subordinate?
Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties.
Well, I'm curious about the murder. Did he do it? Oh, we know he didn't, but we have no way of saying that.
No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
But he would put a man down with a good reason, I guess.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough.
Do you know anything about Fort Joy?
The Joy? I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself.
Well, I imagine that our person, after coming back and finding his entire civilization destroyed and some pretender deciding to throw us in prison for our gifts, I'm guessing I wouldn't be too happy about him. So I would love to meet him and show him exactly what I think of his bloody divine order.
Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
I'll kill him too. Or I'd try. Probably get murdered, jumped on and murdered in the process.
What are you conspiring about over there? You, elf. What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
My name is in a language he has never heard of and cannot pronounce. But you can call me Fane.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
I rather like it, Fane. So if you hold down Alt in order to see stuff, you can actually see that there's a key here. And you can just open this door, which no one will bother, into the food room. Mainly, we want to see here, so you find out all the interesting recipes for mashed potatoes. And we can just, you know, raid the pantry. Mine, mine, mine. Ooh, a knife. That's definitely mine. And there's a book, a journal here that has pictures of dragons. Not good, but clearly enthusiastic. Let's take those. And, you know, just casually hold a knife. This door we don't have a key for, and unlike the door with 6 health before, this one has 434. So I'm guessing that this isn't the way we're supposed to go.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
Ooh, what are they arguing about?
Did you see the body? They ought to let you taste a bit. Maybe you'd find out who done it.
I did, and they weren't too happy about it.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
What am I supposed to be hearing?
The ship, of course.
I quiet and listen to the sounds.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash, and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
Gets me copyrighted. Not that I'm making any money, because no one is ever going to watch this video.
And
it sounds like a moaning sick man.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums.
I assume that's a normal dwarven insult.
But there's more. Listen close.
I close my eyes and let the sound fade away.
There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Great job, narrator.
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news.
What are you so excited about? That was just a rat.
No, you beautiful idiot. That wasn't any rat. It was the wheel. Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Pardon my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
Well, if you know that, you must be a very good sailor. What does the figure mean to you?
Captain, actually.
My bad.
That figure tells me we're getting close to the Joy. Close to what lies beyond it, too.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
Hey, if you have an escape plan, I want in.
He continues stroking his beard, a beatific smile on his lips, and doesn't acknowledge you anymore.
Guess I'll find my own way to escape.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
If you think she's spoiled, just wait till we talk to the Red Prince here.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
Now, I feel like my actual character would get mad and slap his hand away. But this is too funny, so I'm going to see where this leads. Also, who knows, he might be interested in what exactly this mortal is, and whether this is a custom of the lizard people.
There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
Of course I can. I'm a wizard in the kitchen, a true chef.
Ah, music to my beleaguered stomach. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Given a sheet of satin, I can make a bum look like a baron.
Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfactory answer indeed. On then to my final
I doubt Fate
query.
has any of these abilities.
Have you the ability
but I'm
to
sure he
administer
would
the
boast that he
upkeep of
did.
one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after.
I'm no stranger to combs, powders, and perfumes.
The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can cook, tailor, and groom. Well, that just about settles it. I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave.
Well, this is the happiest moment of my life. I accept.
Of course you accept. Mine wasn't an offer, it was an order. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy. Now shoo!
Why, yes, my lord.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
Alright, this is where Thane would normally be sitting. But for now, he's not because we are him. So let's just talk to this magister.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger.
Last passenger?
You faring okay so far?
How would you feel if you were collared like a dog, stuck in the ship's hold with a corpse and a murderer on the loose?
He tugs the collar of his uniform and chuckles.
Sorry you're upset, sir. But we all wear what we wear for a reason.
Easy for you to say.
You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Never thought you'd end up.
Wait, is that the old lady?
And if she tries to...
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
He says as he puts down his crossbow. Oh, there you go. He heard me talking about him. He picked it back up.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
Well, that's nice.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
Wait, what do you mean when you say there are others whose lives must end?
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
Uh-oh.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
Alright, let's fight. Well, that was a short fight.
Mask! She stole it. If these savages see me without it, they will have my skull for a goblet.
They've stolen my shape-shifting mask. I can put on the hood, luckily. They've stolen my mask. The ship is on fire. There's monsters in the gates. And all of the guards are dead. Luckily, there are some weapons right here. So we can arm ourselves with a wand and shield in hand. And see how we could possibly survive in the next episode. Have a good day, everyone.